For years, the US has been very dominant in the air with its battle-proven fighters like the F-15, F-16, and F-18, along with the King of the Skies, and for a long time, the only fifth-generation fighter in service, the F-22. There simply wasn't a serious answer to the US fifth generation of fighter jets from any other competitor on the market up until recent years. Now, after the troublesome development of the F-35 fighter, the US is looking to move above and beyond the competition, and by that I mean completely new generation of fighters. Meet the next generation of air dominance, the jet fighter of the future. Before hopping all the way to the sixth generation, let's have a look back at history and how the US classified the first four generations of fighter jets. The first generation was jet propulsion. It was the breakthrough technology that essentially defined what would become known as a fighter jet in the first place. The second generation was defined by swept wings, range-finding radar, and infrared-guided missiles. For the third generation, it was all about supersonic flight, pulse radar, and missiles that could engage opponents beyond visual range. The fourth generation is famous for the introduction of multi-role jets, implementing fly-by-wire controls, and the focus of BVR air-to-air combat and agility. Further post-Cold War development created the so-called 4+, or as some like to call it, the 4++ generation, which is focused on reduced radar signature, true multi-role capabilities, along with advanced avionics, and weapon systems like on board the Rafale, the Eurofighter, or the Russian Su-35S. Speaking of the Russians, they're also working on a new version of the MiG, the MiG-41. But this information wasn't easy to find out because they don't have a website for this top secret project. Something that you can avoid. Looking for a website for a business, project, or even an aviation-themed YouTube channel just like the one you're watching? Then Squarespace is your answer. Squarespace websites are already optimized for mobile phones, have the ability to run powerful email campaigns, and they have a fantastic e-commerce tech built right into their framework, getting you into business right away. Plus, they have all the SEO tools that you will need to appear in the top results of Google. Trust me, Squarespace is the best. To launch your own site, go to www.squarespace.com/found and get 10% off your first site and domain. Back to the show. The US became the first country to introduce an operational fifth-generation fighter, where it did so with the Lockheed Martin F-22 Raptor in 2005. There was one thing that set the fifth generation of fighter jet apart from the fourth generation: stealth. That's why stealth capabilities are central to the design philosophy of the F-22 Raptor. These aircraft prioritize stealth from day one, that is, from the conceptual design phase, rather than seeking ways to reduce radar signature after they had designed the whole plane in the shop. The result was a multi-role fighter that would be able to do hit-and-run missions behind enemy lines, and with either no or minimal losses, completing its mission goals, striking critical enemy targets in either air or on the ground. These fighter jets also included active electronic scanning array radars and engines that are powerful enough to cruise above the speed of sound without the need of afterburners. The downside of fifth-generation aircraft, however, is although they're able to carry weapons and fuel externally should their need arise, that doing that will instantly make them less stealthy. And without full-on stealth capabilities, the aircraft could literally be considered more sleek-looking versions of fourth-generation jets, and that's a major letdown. As already stated, a sixth generation or class of fighter jets beyond the fifth was inevitable. There is an understanding that aerial combat of the future will have less of an emphasis on one-to-one dogfights or even brute aerial superiority. Rather, the focus and role of the new jet would be a part of an integrated system of manned and unmanned aircraft, ground troops, satellites, or AWACS planes, depending on the nature of the task at hand. The idea behind the integration of manned and unmanned aircraft is that there would be only one pilot operating 2 or more aircraft at a time. UAVs would not be controlled from the ground, and the AI would be able to perform basic tasks commanded by the pilot, allowing the pilot to focus on the priority objectives, with the drones either providing recon, support, or drawing enemy fire away. These roles would allow our hero pilot to slip in unnoticed, or at least face smaller and softer threats whilst